What's up, YouTube? What's up, great people on Earth? What's up, my community? Before we start, I just have a little announcement that I want to make. And this might sound a little bad, but I don't care. As you all know, Chris Brown was here in Texas. And if you're not in Texas, he's been on tour. And I wanted to go see him in Austin, maybe even Dallas. But that's not happening. And I just want to say that everybody that went to go see him, I hope all of you tear a hole in your shoe or get a hole in your sock. I hope that you guys order ice cream and it's the wrong flavor. And I hope whatever fast food restaurant you go to order your drink, maybe it be a Sprite or Powerade, I hope it tastes nasty. Forget all y'all. Anywho, let's get back to what we were getting to. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mac Diesel, the host with the most, the best, better than the rest. And we are back with another episode. Last episode got posted a little late due to complications with going to Vegas and flying out of there. I do apologize. However, I did post it on Monday, so if you haven't watched it already, please, by all means, go ahead. Go back before you watch this one and watch that one. It was a very interesting weekend. However, I had a great time. I will say it was good to get away from where I currently live to go somewhere else and do something else and just to travel. But I think with all of that and what we're going to talk about today, it's going to be a good episode today. Like I said, if you haven't watched the last one, please go back and watch it before you watch this one. But I kind of want to get into the idea of anxiety. I kind of want to get into the idea of just feeling anxious altogether. I think that we all have that type of issue, not recently, but over time as we're growing and we're getting older. If it hadn't started as a little kid, it may have started when you were in college or when you were in high school. You know, we're all different ages, we're all different sizes, we're all different people altogether. So that's what the episode's going to be about. We're going to talk about what it makes us feel like, how it's triggered, and what are some ways we can try to resolve it. Not only on my experience, but what I've learned. So let's get into it. So we're talking about anxiety. We're talking about the feeling of just anything that can make us feel like we're just so you know? And so I pulled up the definition here and it says, a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. And then underneath it, in quotes, it says, he felt a surge of anxiety. So with that definition and just kind of like going based off of my experience and what I've done and how I felt and things like that, the sense of nervousness or unease, I feel like those two play a big role when it comes to anxiety because, you know, when you want to do good or when you have this event going on or something big happening, right? Most times we get that feeling of unease or scared or being nervous or just, you know, so many other words that go with that definition. Oftentimes I used to get nervous or anxious when it came to sports, you know, like football, basketball, because I played sports in high school. So a lot of the times it was because I was playing in front of people and I wanted to perform at my best. And 9 times out of 10, when I got out there and I was actually playing, I wasn't even thinking about anybody else except me, my job, and what my objective is. So that's just one part of how that stuff happens. Now, when you bring it to a life aspect, it could be a presentation. It could be a test. It could be just getting to know somebody in general. And the reason why I agree with the definition, what it says, is because it's a real feeling. I feel like a lot of people don't believe in anxiety, but it actually is a thing. Most people may not have it because, they just have a certain confidence about them. They just have this aura that allows them to not feel anything. Versus with me and maybe some other people, we just get in our head a lot of the times, and we don't know how to dissect and differentiate everything as far as worry and what not to worry about. So if I could give you an example, I have anxiety sometimes. Most times I try not to allow it to take over my mind and my body, but it does. And it's because I'm very much a perfectionist, and I very much want to do the right thing. And I always want things to go the correct way. But in my head, I'm hearing like just a bunch of negative thoughts. Like, what if I'm not good enough? What if, this go wrong? What if I can't do this? And I think that's something that us as humans all do, is that we doubt ourselves a lot of the times, and we don't go to our full potential. And that's okay to do it once, twice, even 3 times. But we also have to remember that we're human. Like I just stated, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to do things not always right. But that doesn't mean we allow our brains to continue to tell ourselves or make us feel like all those negative thoughts. I look at anxiety as how we have obstacles in life, right? For example, not necessarily life, but just in general. Well, yeah, in life, right? You run track, you got to jump over a hurdle. You have a problem with reading, you have to practice to get better. You're not good at basketball, you got to practice to get better. You stink at a game, you got to play it enough to train your hands, your mind, and your thoughts to know how to play it in a way that you get better and you're at the top of your game. And I will say that a lot of my anxiousness, nervousness has developed over time. From playing football at a young age all the way up to high school in my senior year, I always got nervous all the time. It didn't matter what it was. I just, when it came to sports, and this is actually a funny story, anytime I had a game or anytime I had a big event that I was a part of that I had to do, I always had to go poop. That was my ritual. That was my tradition I did before any game, anytime I sang in church, anytime I had to read a book in front of somebody, anytime I had to do a speech, I always had to poop. And I always knew that was the reason why I was getting nervous. It was just something that I did. And I was like, okay, anytime I have to do that, I know I'm nervous. Anytime I didn't, I knew something was off. But in the end, whatever it is I was doing, it always ended up coming out good. It always ended up making me realize it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And that's what the mind does. It makes you think that a situation is going to be worse than what it actually might turn out to be. I feel like the only way it gets worse or is worse is if we allow ourselves to make it that way. We don't have to make it that way, but when we get in our head and we get all these closed in thoughts, that's what lets our body turn it into something worse. So besides all the nervousness and, other events that happen that make us nervous and anxious, what also causes anxiety is bottling everything in. And if I could use a reference, it's kind of like how you put Mentos in a Coke bottle, or you put Mentos in any type of soda, right? Obviously, Mentos have a substance or whatever it is inside of them to cause them to, kind of fizzle, kind of expand, and kind of cause an explosion. Whereas with the soda, it has the carbonation in there. So when you put the two together, it causes a chemical reaction. So you take once the chemical reaction is put together and formed, everybody knows what happens. Everything in the bottle comes out. All the soda and everything else comes out. The Mentos, everything, unless they're already dissolved. And I'm not a big science nerd or science kid, but I just kind of like putting things together, kind of like thinking about it, using my common sense. That's the definition I come up. So we're a lot like bottles of soda. And if I had a preference, I'll make myself Sprite, because Sprite is good every now and then. I don't drink it all the time, but it's good. So our bodies, our minds are a bottle of soda. And the Mentos are our thoughts. Follow me here. So you got, we'll say 10 Mentos. You got not feeling good enough, sad, angry, just any emotion that's 10 emotions. Just take 10 emotions, right? And we're just stuffing them in our ears, right? And we're retracting all these emotions. We're hearing things. We're telling ourselves things. And a lot of times what we do is we bottle all this stuff up, right? And we wonder why we're sad. We wonder why we're angry. We wonder why we're feeling this way. We wonder why we're feeling that way. And 9 times out of 10, it's because of a space that we were in, or a situation that we were dealing with that we held on to. And we felt like, man, I wish this situation would have went differently. I didn't like how it ended, or I didn't like the way I felt about it. And then we carry that every day, every way. 7 days out of the week, we just carry it with us. And then we go week 2, right? Expecting it to be better. And then boom, something else happens. We carry it, we hold on to it, and it just bothers us, right? And then you get to the 3rd week, and you got all these things going on. You got all these thoughts, right? And you finally get to an area or a day in your life where something good happens. But because everything that you carried and all the emotions that you're having right at this one moment, you can't accept the happy stuff, because you're so worried about what happened 2 weeks ago that you can't even take in the happy stuff. So what happens, right? You block it off. You go home, or you're just in an area by yourself, and you're just like trying to understand anything and everything. Chest starts getting tight. You start feeling red. You're sad. You wanna just punch a hole in a wall or something. So now the Mentos are starting to cause that chemical reaction, right? To the point where you start crying, or you just get angry, and like I said, you punch the wall. You feel like you have to yell. You're yelling, or you're just blocking everybody and anybody away. That's the explosion that happens, because you had so much inside of you, you didn't know how to get rid of it. And then it just, someday, one way or another, it comes out. Whether it be word of mouth, or when you write it down, or just whatever, something just happens, right? And that's a cycle that I personally have been through, where I just bottled everything in. I just took everything in. My own issues, my friends' issues, family issues, can't get right on the game, not doing good on social media, which social media doesn't matter. But when I say social media, I mean like with my podcast, like posting it, not getting the numbers that I'm trying to reach. And it's like you use all these things and you're just angry. You're not yourself. And what comes after that is depression. Then anxiety kicks up and we're just anxious all the time, and we just don't know where to turn. So from my personal experience, I did that. I bottled everything up. And I never understood why. I just felt like there was no reason for me to tell anybody. There was no reason for me to say anything. I just wanted to be alone. I wanted to be isolated. I wanted to be blocked off. So that way I can have my own time to deal with those emotions. And most of the time I never really dealt with them. I just swallowed them or put them behind me, and I just moved on. And I acted like nothing ever happened. Until one day. One day I had a conversation, and I believe it was with my mother or somebody else. I cannot recall. But I had a conversation with somebody. And somebody expressed to me that there are so many options that we could use to help us not have those anxious moments, not have such severe anxiety. Anxiety is a real thing, and it happens from time to time. But there are ways we can control it to where it's not making us have all these issues with internally. So you won't have as many headaches. You won't be crying as much. You won't have the tight chest. You won't have a fast heart rate. One thing that I was told to do is that when I'm having all these thoughts and feeling all these different emotions, take a notebook or a piece of paper and just write whatever it is that's on your mind, right? You write it down, and once you feel like you're finished, or you know you're finished, you just read it, and you read it back to yourself, and you try to understand what you wrote, whether it be just a bunch of words or gibberish or full-on sentences. And you look at it and you're just like, okay, so step 1 is writing. Step 2 is analyzing. Step 3 is, how can I solve this issue? And you may not always have the answer for the solution, but that's how you practice to get better. Like I said, when you play the game and you're not good at it, you continue to keep playing it until you get better. Same thing with this. You continue to write until you feel better, or you get better at it and you're able to decipher those feelings and emotions that you put on a paper. I feel like a lot of what causes and strikes up anxiety is ourselves. We feel like we can't do or talk to anybody, or, like I said, write it down, because a lot of times we feel like it doesn't matter. Me personally, I felt like that. And when it was Men's Mental Health Month, I talked about that before. Us as men, and this is not about men, but just for that example, us as men, we just feel like nothing we say matters. And that's why I said, no matter what it is, speak up, because it matters. It's important. You're a human being just like me. And that goes the same for everybody else. It does not matter what it is that's going on in that moment. I think that everybody in the world should express how they feel, whether that be on a court or on paper or in a game. Because when you play games, most of the time you're shooting a gun and you're going to shoot the other team. So that's a good way to get your frustration out, or just working out in general. But going back to the point, I think that I know for me, a lot of the anxiety I cause is myself. And for other people, we don't realize it, but we cause that pain ourselves. And we start having heart issues. We don't eat properly. We're eating our feelings. We're, just treating people in a negative way. And that causes so many different issues, not only with us, but with everybody we meet. Can you imagine, like, just being angry all the time? You go to a bar or you go to a restaurant and you're just rude to people for no reason, and you wonder why, and you don't know why. But when you self-reflect and you actually sit down and think about all the things that are going on in your life, 9 times out of 10, you know the answer and you figure it out on your own. That's why I say when you write, it's like all of that. It's like Venom, for example. He's a big ball of goop. And then as he took over Spider-Man's body, he was just negative, just angry, mad. But it's kind of like that. When you have that on you and you start writing, it's like it just starts getting off your body and it goes onto the paper. And even if you don't keep the paper, you can take it out, light it, and burn it so you don't think about it anymore. That's the best way to deal with anxiety most times, is just getting it out of here. Because you allow so much in here, it begins to clutter and it gets dusty and everything's just like, you don't even know. It's just gray. All you see is black and white. But once you start extracting that from you, you start to see everything in a much clearer state. You start to feel a lot better. You don't have as much anxiety anymore. You don't have as much of anything anymore. You feel at peace. And it's just important to remember that we deserve peace. Us as people, we deserve to have a peace of mind and know that no matter what's going on, no matter how severe we may make it, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be that serious, or it ain't that serious. So, with all that being said, I would say this. Allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to write it down, or whatever method you choose, whether that be therapy, whether that be writing in a journal, whether that be just sitting and talking to somebody. Allow yourself to get rid of whatever's on your mind, whatever's on your heart. Feel your emotions. Be in the present. And don't let it take over and turn you into something that you're not, or somebody that you never wanted to be. And just live. Just live. Love yourself, and know that you can be okay without the negativity and everything that comes with it. But now that we got the important stuff out the way, let's get to the music. And y'all already know what I'm about to say. I said at the beginning of the episode, for any of you and every person that went to that concert and is going to that concert, I'm sick of you. I'm mad because I should have been there. It should have been me. I should have been able to see my favorite artist. But no. Nobody wanted to go with me. My schedule got screwed up. Nobody still wants to go with me. And that's fine. That's fine. I'll just start doing stuff on my own. I'm going to just go and do. I ain't telling nobody nothing. I don't care. But on the contrary to that, this other artist, Lucky Day, that man's going on tour. I may have to, take a trip. Because he's also one of my favorite artists. He's not above Chris Brown, though. But somebody that I've admired his music and the way he does his music. I think he's just one of the other most phenomenal superstars and one of the most talented musicians I've ever heard. His sound is just, it's a little bit different from a lot of people that are claiming to be R&B genre. I don't know. I just like him. Who knows? I don't think there is anything else in the music world that I was wanting to talk about. I don't think there's any new music. No, I think that was it. So this segment was a little short, unfortunately, but hey, on to the next. Movies, TV shows. I just finished season 3 of The Boys, and boy, let me tell you something. Whoa. Can't ruin it for y'all, but whoa. I can't ruin it for those who haven't seen it. That show is addicting. Very much so. And then, what else am I watching right now? I started Shameless. It's okay. And then I also watched that last episode of House of the Dragons. I felt like that episode really dragged. I felt like it wasn't as intense or how the other episodes were. I felt like it was a little bit slower, but I also feel like they kind of have to slow it down because when the next season comes out, it's going to have much more stuff. So I kind of get it, but I don't understand it. I just know that it's a process when it comes to building up to a much deeper plot in storylines and in movies and shows. So, and then the last point is I'm actually going to see Inside Out 2 today. I finally got some time to where I'm able to go and see it. And I'm hoping and praying it's as good as the first one. A lot of people are giving me negative reviews, but I think it's going to be good. So I'm excited. And I'll definitely give my review on it when I get done watching it. Whether it be on the podcast next episode or on my Instagram story, who knows? We'll figure it out. But that's all I have for y'all today. I appreciate y'all coming, watching this episode. Again, if you haven't seen last episode, go and watch it. It's up right now. And then you can come back and watch this one. But also don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on those notification bells, repost, retweet, and all that good stuff for me to see. And I love y'all, appreciate y'all, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Yeah, we rolling, we doing our thing. Hey, bad little shawty, she looking for me, but I gotta keep a low profile, can't get exposed.